The previous episode ended with the maid entering Luna's room. When Luna noticed the papers the maid was carrying, she asked, "What is this?" The maid replied, "These are all the details regarding the daily needs that you asked the servants to provide, my lady. With this, all the servants have now submitted the required information." Surprised, Luna said, "All the servants?" The maid responded, "Yes. The Duke came to the servants' quarters this morning, gave the order, and left." Luna started to think and said to herself, "Did Duke Vitolang do this? Wasn't he trying to keep me confined to this room and do nothing? But this seems like he was helping me." And here, the maid bowed to her, saying, "My lady, I would like to apologize for our rudeness towards you until now." But in surprise, Lune asked her, "Why are you saying this suddenly?" Therefore the maid said to her, "Everyone who works here has suffered from difficulties and hardships, and we respect Duke Vitulang because he employed us regardless of our situation. And this is the truth behind the existence of some hostile feelings towards the lady who did not respect the Duke or his possessions. And it is likely that your ladyship's possessions were stolen as a result of this hostility, in addition to the general dissatisfaction regarding the lack of living expenses that are being provided. And in this process, there were also times when I ignored their actions, and I am deeply ashamed of myself, and I will accept any punishment that you deem necessary." But Lune got up nervously, saying, "That's enough. I know I haven't shown my best side." So she smiled at her and said, "Let's leave all our frustrating actions in the past, and I only ask that you take care of me from now on." And here, the maid looked at her in astonishment and said, "My lady." And when Lune went to her, the maid said, "I will do my best to serve you from now on, my lady." Then the scene changes, and Lune is sitting with Laban, who begins to say to her, "Shall we see how much you were able to accomplish after that?" And here Luna said to him, "I have reviewed all the documents you sent and categorized them into different groups. In addition to that, I have noticed several areas where it seems that the redistribution of expenses is necessary, so I have prepared plans to deal with this matter." Here, Laban took what she had done and said in surprise, "Redistribution?" And at the same time, he was thinking to himself, "She has gathered all the relevant documents and put them together, and all the old documents have been rewritten and the formats have been unified. In addition to that, she plans to improve the living cost for the employees by increasing their wages and compensating for the difference in how luxury goods consumption is managed to avoid increasing the total expenses. Everything is in order, and there is not a single mistake." Here, she presented him with more information, saying, "Also, there is something I would like to confirm with you, Lord Chaston. These are the items that are being exported to Elaf." "Here," Laban said. "Elaf? In recent years, the number of mana stones exported to Elaf has increased significantly. It's about 3 times what was sent 3 years ago. How can you be so ignorant of the ways of the world? Elaf's magical items have become more popular in recent years, so it is inevitable for them to greatly increase the number of mana stones they import, as they are the main component of those items. However, most of the mana stones currently exported to Elaf are high-quality mana stones, and all of Elaf's exports can only contain a limited amount of energy, according to the figures stipulated by each country that imports its products. But when Lunai said to him, "If they're really using these imports to make those products, there's no need for them to buy so many high-level mana stones that ridiculously exceed the acceptable mana levels for those products." He looked at her in astonishment and said to himself, "She's right. Advanced mana stones are usually only used for powerful attack-type magic. So buying a substance like that in large quantities is suspicious. How did I fail to notice that? How did someone who just started reviewing the management records notice this before I did? My father was right. I have caused harm to his happiness and brought shame to my family. I am a miserable disgrace. What will happen to me now?" When Lune saw him in this state, she got up nervously and said, "Lord Chaston?" And when he didn't answer her, she rushed to him and said, "Chaston, Chaston, please calm down." Then she leaned on his chair and said, I didn't come here to take your position from you. I need your help. I enjoy organizing things, interacting with people, and checking how sites are managed, but I'm not good at making detailed notes and writing precise observations like you do. Even in this case, I wouldn't have been able to do it if you hadn't carefully recorded even the smallest piece of information and created the basic framework for managing this manner. Therefore, I would like you to teach me how to do these things. Here he looked at her in silence, then bowed his head and said, I apologize for insulting you and your family. I misunderstood you and thought you were opportunistic, and that you came here to take my place and cause problems for Vitalang through your ignorance. I was wrong to judge you, Lady Vitalang. Please forgive me for my rudeness. And here Lunai stood up and bowed to him, saying, I also apologize for my disrespectful attitude, Lord Chaston. So Laban stood up and gave her his hand, saying, Please call me Laban, Your Grace, and I look forward to working with you. And indeed he did that, and started working with her. Then the scene changed as the head maid went to Laban in the evening and said to him, You're late again today, sir. So he went with her, saying, What about Luna? And here the maid said, Madam. At that time, Luna was greeting Duke William. She said to him, I see you've also been working late tonight. Then suddenly, she went to him and kissed him, saying, I've missed you. And nervously she said to him, This is the only thing I can do when we're in front of the servants. Don't misunderstand and think I actually love you. Angrily, William said, Only in front of the servants. Then he kissed her and looked at her, smiling, saying, It still makes me happy, Looney. I've missed you too. Here she looked at him nervously, saying to herself, I'm simply returning the favor he did for me. So I won't owe him anything. So don't misunderstand things. And the next day, Laban said to Lunai, I owe you a great debt of gratitude. I thought I would stay here until adulthood. And I didn't know that I would be able to return home after His Highness's marriage. And here Luni said to him, I will write to you, Laban. And he told her, Of course you must do that. And remember, as a duchess, if you distance yourself too much from your staff and neglect your duties, they will end up taking everything. Be always vigilant and report the situation. Here she said to him nervously, Yes. And here William said, It's time for you to leave now. And Lune coughed and said to him, Travel safely. And when Laban saw her like this, he said to her, This cold has lasted a long time. Would you like me to send you some of Alaf's healing potions? But Lunai said to him, No, it's okay. Alaf's healing potions require the use of a high-level mana stone, so they are very expensive, aren't they? And there aren't many of them either. And there are very few people who can make them. Here, Laban said nervously, That's true, but and here William said, No, in any case, I want you to get one and send it to us. Then he went closer and whispered to him, saying, And also, and here Laban said to him after he told him what he wanted, Excuse me? That? I understand, but... And here he bid them farewell and said, Then I will leave now. Please take care of yourself, Your Grace. And here the Duchess bid him farewell, saying, Travel safely, Lord Laban. And when he got into the carriage and left, he began to think and remembered when William had said to him, No. In any case, I want you to get one and send it to us. And when he came closer and whispered, he said, And I also want you to know about a potion called Love Elixir. So he began to think to himself, I wonder why His Highness is interested in something like this. He's already married. Well, I'm sure His Highness has his own reasons for wanting information about something like this. At this time, Lunai's condition worsened. So nervously, William said, Your cough seems to have gotten worse, my wife. Why don't you consider resting in your room today? But she said to him, I'm fine. This is probably just a result of the excessive stress I've been under in recent days. And at the same time, she was thinking to herself, The more I participate in managing Vitalang, the more I learn about it and about this duchy. The Duke has a very good reputation among the residents of his duchy thanks to his policies that are suitable for the public and his support for farmers. And the duchy's finances are stable due to the wealth gained through Laban's employment. And even before that incident, the Duke used to visit Louboutin very often. And I also found some documents that turned out to be reports about Louboutin. And it's clear that he's been watching Louboutin for a long time. So I just need to do a little more work. But suddenly she collapsed and lost consciousness, and William caught her, shouting her name, "Laan!"